So, how are you doing? Been a while.
Been a while. Oh, since I stood here, you mean? Oh, yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
true. Yeah. A lot has happened since then, my man.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Well, what's happened with the quarterbacks, you think? How have they come along? You've had kind of to battle a few things with some injuries and stuff, and
Yeah.
how do you think they've come along?
Well, I think they're progressing. They're, still in the process of learning how to be great quarterbacks, what it takes to be a great quarterback. The type of emotional and mental strain that you have to have for 60 straight minutes is something that, they're working through. I always say that it's every man is made of three parts. Mentally, you got to be right. Physically, you got to understand how to execute your technique and fundamentals. And then emotionally, you have to be strong enough to hang in there and battle snap after snap for a long period of time. And I think they're getting to the point where they're learning how hard it is mentally and emotionally to be a quarterback on this level.
So Emory has been somewhat inconsistent. I mean, both have, but what are you liking about the way he's kind of stayed the course and progressed? I mean, he's had some moments. I mean, the other day, obviously had the performance he did.
Yeah, well, I like the fact that he has just showed his grit because there was a time in the season, early in the season, where it was hard for his mom to even come to the games. And it was hard for her to sit in the stands during the games because, people were saying things to her about her son that probably wasn't fair. And he had to deal with that while he was out on the field trying to execute and worried about his mom who's in the stands. And those types of things are something no one talks about. And we would have these deep conversations, me and him and his mother, about how we're going to withstand this and keep battling through this. And, so me and his mom ended up developing a really good relationship. And then the kid just kept grinding. There was times early in the season where I believe one of those early games, he played 60 snaps in the game. He had 6 really bad plays and 54 really good plays. But he had to learn that those 6 bad plays are all that anybody cares about, including us. As the guys that got to get it corrected, those 6 plays are what's going to cost us games. And those types of things I think he learned during the season and, just what it's like to be a starting quarterback. It's hard.
I can't believe people were acting like that to Trina. She's pretty nice.
Trina's a very good lady, and she's a very strong lady. She really has a lot of confidence and faith in her kid. They spend a lot of time talking and texting just with her, keeping him lifted up. Just a very tremendous relationship that they have. When our bus pulls up, she's normally the first one, right out there outside the bus waiting on him to get there. And then Sean's probably right down the road waiting on Anthony also.
I tell you, and not to go on in this last thing, but that does show that sometimes our perspective, at least from where I sit, can get lost a little bit, man.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just, we talk about it. Everyone has a job to do, and fans are fans. I mean, they want everything to be right. I mean, they're going to come to the stadium. They're going to scream their lungs out for us. They want things to go right. And when things are not going right, they tend to let that go also. And so we can't expect them to come to the stadium and really scream for us and yell for us and then not get on us, when things aren't going well. So it's a part of it. It's a part of playing this position at this level.
Thank you, sir.
Zach Evilberti.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Garrick, obviously Emory coming off of a huge record-setting game against Sanford, and probably the most important thing he did was not have any turnovers. That's something that he's struggled with this year. From your standpoint, what have been some of his interception issues, and how does he get those corrected?
Yeah, he has these. That's where that emotional and mental strain happens. Like, you can play a really good game, and then late in the fourth quarter, you lose focus and you turn the ball over. And that took you from having a really good, efficient football game, and that one moment when you decide to be undisciplined or not do what you're coached to do or take the play off mentally, that one moment spoils the whole night. So that's been a lot of the issues. He really, he understands defenses. He knows where to go with the football. He's just, he's running down the field at South Carolina in a critical moment in the game. We were backed up in our own end zone, and he cuts back inside, and he knows the defensive linemen are going to chase and retrace once they rush, and he has one hand on the ball, and they nail him. And, he comes back the next day and said, yep, you said it was going to get me, and it got me. So it's just those types of moments and critical moments that you have to be disciplined and you have to do what you're coached to do, and I think he's learning and growing.
And obviously you're familiar with the phrase, backup quarterback's the most popular guy on the team. This year with him and Anthony, have you ever seen a situation like that in your career gain so much attention as the two of those two? And in turn, how impressed have you been with the way that both of them have handled all that?
Well, they have a really good friendship. We spend a lot of time talking about this situation. I told Anthony, as soon as we put you in the game, we were all sitting in the meeting room, and I said, as soon as we start Anthony and he runs out there and he turns the ball over, everybody's going to say we just need to put Emory back in the game and get you out. You know that's going to happen. That's how the world works. And so we laugh about that, all the time, that we have to support each other, that we understand how hard it is on the field. We all have to be prepared. We all have to help each other nonstop. And, whichever one's on the field, we just got to give him all the spirit, energy we can, and he has to go execute plays.
Thanks, Garrick.
Mark Long.
Hey, Garrett. Going back to Emory's mom, what was, you said how are we going to withstand this? You and her kind of sat down. What was the plan for dealing with all that criticism and swamp chaos?
Well, Emory's a very strong kid. Emory was here. Emory told me a story that he was here. Maybe Felipe and Emory were best friends, just like Anthony and Emory are best friends. There was times when he heard him and Felipe were standing next to each other, and there were people screaming, we need to get Felipe out and get Emory in. And so now it all happened in reverse. It was, let's get Emory out and get Anthony in. So Emory had been through this situation on both sides. And so his maturity of understanding emotionally how to handle it, I think really helped, for him to just keep grinding and keep playing. He would say, I'm not worried. I'm fine. I'm going to just keep trying to get better every single day and give us the best opportunity to win.
And then switching back to Anthony for a second, there was a report that you guys got him some track coach help, that maybe he runs a little too upright and that was putting strain on his hamstrings. Is there anything to that? Is there some truth there that was part of the deal? You're trying to get him to maybe run a little less upright?
No, I didn't. I wasn't a part of that. I don't think Coach was a part of that. I think that may be a story that we're not sure about. He just has to, take care of his body. His body is built, different. He's a bulky kid, and he's faster than most kids his size. So his muscles, Coach Savage does a good job of training his muscles the right way. Another thing we did learn after that, Coach Savage and Coach Mullen, is that on the practice field, he has to get to top speed on the practice field. He can't just be a quarterback and drop and throw, or when he runs, he just kind of, floats down the field. He is so fast, and his muscles, are going to move and strain so much when he's running. Coach Savage started keeping him and getting him to get to top speed, during a practice session, so that his muscles could hold up when he gets to top speed during the games.
Where does he need to make the biggest adjustments and improvements moving forward so that you can maximize? He's obviously got a world of a potential. How do you maximize that? Yeah,
when you talk to his mother, she just says he needs to grow up. Coach, I know this kid looks like a man, and I know the Lord has blessed him with a lot of talent, but this is a baby. And not only do we have to train him on how to be a quarterback, how to take drops, how to read defenses, just got to grow up. and understand how to be serious and how to be focused all the time, so that he can lead our program to a championship at some point. I mean, that's the deal with him. I was out of the indoor, and I found out that he could have injured himself dancing in the indoor. And that was something that, it goes along with that. We got to learn how to grow up. We can't afford that in a program like this. We can't afford injuries. You're going to run into enough guys during the game. And he understood it. He's just a young kid trying to grow up, while he was in college. Just so happens he's a tremendous football player.
Thomas Goldkamp.
Hey, Coach, I apologize for not being on video. I'm having some issues over here. How involved are you in the decision as far as who starts? How much input do you have? I imagine, ultimately it's probably Dan's call, but how involved in that process are you?
My job as an assistant coach is to make recommendations, and the head coach's job is to make decisions. I mean, I've been a head coach before, and I trusted my assistants. We have conversations about what we should do, what we think we need to do. Everybody gets their opinion, and then ultimately head coaches make decisions.
Have there been games where, obviously, coming off the concussion and the hotel one, were there games earlier in the year where maybe he could have gotten more involved?
Yeah, but just so had the injuries kind of, here and there kind of set us back. But yeah, we really, we're trying, because there's some things that he could do that are incredible. And in certain moments in games, you need someone to, change the momentum. When you're in the SEC and the momentum changes on you and the other team has the momentum, you need someone to spark that and get the momentum back on our sideline. And that's what these game-breaking players, are able to do. And, there were times that I thought in the LSU game, Anthony took the momentum back and got us back in the game by himself. And there was times in other games, but he was, for one reason or another, he was injured at the time.
Back to Edgar.
Yeah, a couple more, Coach. You talked, I remember when we did get you a while back, you said your big thing is like developing like leadership in a quarterback.
Yeah.
And Anthony, obviously, based on your comments, has a ways to go there. But if you could talk about another player on the offense, not a quarterback, Dameon Pierce, what kind of like tone does that young man set? He's pretty talented, but seems to share the wealth pretty willingly.
Yeah, well, leadership, there's a lot that goes on with leadership. I do think that Anthony's spirit and energy is a part of leadership, his enthusiasm, in the locker room as we run out on the field, he's jumping up and down. That matters when it comes to the energy level of the team. I think Dameon Pierce has a lot of respect from our players, which gets some of our players to follow him because they respect him and how he works every day and how he goes about his business every day. I think the same goes with Emory. I think, I had a conversation with Tim Tebow about him as a leader. And he said, man, I never really wanted to be the leader. I wanted everybody to respect me. And if I got them to respect me, they would follow me. And I thought it was a profound statement that he said. So I think there's a few guys, out there. And it doesn't really matter what year they are. I think people follow Malik. He is an older guy that's been through a lot. People saw him grind and get back on his feet. Now he's playing well. He can do multiple things. He always has a great attitude. That guy, he's a captain, but I would consider that guy, one of the leaders of our team. There's another kid, Chief Bordas, who's a defensive player who doesn't play. But Chief's energy level, concentration, his spirit leads the team in a lot of ways.
And last one, sir, please. Dan Mullen's under a lot of heat right now. The program just in general, a lot of outside, detractors, a lot of hand wringing. What do you think Dan Mullen, if you were to sell this program under Dan Mullen, what's the number one thing you think that he's doing well and why you're confident in his leadership going forward?
Well, I think he's an expert head coach. I think he understands how to compartmentalize information in his mind. He has a plan, a step-by-step plan of how to go about everything that's going on. He's a very experienced head coach and leader. That's not hard to find. There's a lot of guys, that are getting head coaching jobs have never been that before, and there's so much stuff that's going to go on when you get the job that you have I was one of them, that I was an assistant. I became a head coach. I didn't have any idea that all the stuff that you have to deal with. And so when you have a guy that's that experienced and, understands all the stuff that goes along with it, I think that's why our kids continue to follow him and continue to, show up and grind at practice every day.